Hi everyone, I'm Shelly and you're watching There's No Place Like Home. Ever since I made the video the other day about the very biased textbook that a private school teacher had posted on Twitter, I've been thinking about a video that I did quite a while back called There's No Such Thing as a Good Public School. And I thought that I really should do an updated video because apparently it's not just public schools that we need to worry about, it is private schools as well. So the gist of today's video is really this. It's a mistake to believe that your school doesn't indoctrinate. Fails that every time that I post a video where I talk about or show evidence of a school indoctrinating its students, I will get comments or I will get feedback telling me that they know that some schools indoctrinate, but that theirs doesn't. Some people say that it's because they're in a good school district. Others say that it's because their parents are very involved, so their school would never get away with it. But I really need to open your eyes. It doesn't matter what kind of school your kids are in. If they're in a good school district, you can bet that your kids are still being indoctrinated. And a lot of these curriculums are very insidiously being snuck into these school districts. So even if you're in a good school district with very involved parents, let me explain this to you. Although it might be easier for a school district that doesn't have a lot of parental involvement to get away with indoctrination, in fact, they probably can send them home as homework and a lot of parents won't notice. Don't believe that just because you are in one of those better school districts that your school will not do this. They will simply do it in a different way. They will definitely not be open about it, especially if they have parents that they know would disagree and would be vocally disagreeing with what they are teaching their kids. They're not going to be open about this, but you can bet that they are still going to be implementing these curriculums. And I actually have two examples of this. And again, remember, we're not just talking about public schools anymore, because from my last video, we now see that there are some pretty questionable things that are happening in private schools too. So the first example that I have for you is just from a friend of mine, because I know that some people have also said that if you want to see what is in the curriculum that your kids are learning, you know, get on the school board, because they will have a first glance at what those, you know, what's inside the curriculum. A friend of mine, she's retired, so she is on the school board for the school district that her grandson is in. And it's a very tight-knit community, so she knows everybody there very well. And so she thought that everything was just hunky-dory until her grandson started telling her some of the really disgusting things that he was learning in high school. And so what she did was she took a paper, I believe it was on a test, to I'm not sure, it was someone else in the school board, and she said, would you let your mother read this? Because I guess she knew the guy's mother, and the mother was elderly. She said, would you ever give this to your elderly mother to read? And he kind of sheepishly said, no, he wouldn't. And she just let him have it. This is one of those better school districts. And my friend and her daughter, you know, they both believed that since she was there on the school board, that they would, you know, they would be privy to that information that is in the curriculum, and that they would know firsthand the things that are being taught. But that wasn't so much the case. She did not find out until her grandson came up to her and showed her what he was learning. And here's the catch. And I don't know if this is how it was all the time. I don't know what the textbooks were like, but the thing that he showed her was actually in a test that was written by a teacher. So just because you think that you have firsthand knowledge of what is in those textbooks, you can never underestimate what some teachers will do to get certain information into classes. Okay, so another example that I have, and this is just going to be a really quick video today, but another example that I have is from when my kids were in school. When my kids were in school, I was one of those very involved parents. I was in PTA. I was constantly helping out in the classroom. I was very friendly with their teachers. I was very friendly with the principal. And so again, you would think that, hey, everything is totally fine. And here's the thing. It wasn't totally fine. But do you want to know how I found out that things weren't totally fine? Two of my kids' teachers who were very close to me and we both share the same values, they came up to me in private after school one day and they told me about some of the things that were going on. They told me in confidence and they asked me if I would bring this up with the principal because they knew that they couldn't do it. They would have been reprimanded, possibly fired. So they were afraid to do something about it themselves. So they came up to me, a parent, one that they knew would open up her mouth, and they asked me to speak to the principal about it, which is exactly what I did. So this is really a warning to you. Don't get complacent. Don't believe that just because you think your kids are in a good school district, parents are more involved, they would never try to sneak these things in. Yes, they will. They will absolutely try to sneak these things in, and they're doing it. Schools all over the country are doing it. So I said it in my other video, and I'm going to say it to you again. The only way that you will ever truly know what your kids are learning is if you homeschool them, even if your kids are in a good school. That's all that I have for you today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed yet and would like to hear more of what I have to say, I would love if you would do that. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave one over on Instagram because YouTube disables my comments. And if you like my work and would like to check out my Patreon page, I will leave a link in the description box for that as well. And I hope you have a great day.